Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed by uncertainty, like you're stuck without a clear path moving forward? If you're like me, then you've been chasing a goal or a new pursuit and you felt this wave of anxiety and you felt almost paralyzed. But why does this happen? And what if I told you that it's not about the feeling of overwhelm and anxiety, but it's more about the relationship you have with uncertainty? Well, that's what this video is all about. This video comes from an issue of my weekly newsletter, The Performance Pulse, titled The Predictability Edge, Navigating Fear and Comfort. And it's this idea of unpredictable versus predictable conditions, and then how that influences our emotional state and how we show up in the world. So if you want to understand how to better grasp the idea of uncertainty and audit your relationship so you can shift your relationship with uncertainty, then this video is for you. By the way, my name is Josh Perry. I'm a personal performance coach. I help people bridge the gap between their intentions and execution. So this video is all about the uncertainty that we have in our lives and the relationship we have with uncertainty, which is what holds us back from taking action and making our intentions become a realization for us. Why does uncertainty trigger fear and anxiety in the brain, and how does that impact our ability to take action? Uncertainty represents the unknown. And the brain is always trying to predict what's going to come next to be able to take care of ourselves, to preserve our body. The unknown represents a potential threat because we can't put ourselves in that space and time and understand what's going to happen. So the stress response is signaled, and we create a host of different chemicals in our body that are what we feel as emotions, and that impacts how we show up one way or another. If we keep going towards the thing that we're afraid of, or if we run away. Or there's the freeze response to stress. And some of us have been so conditioned to overriding what we feel that we become functional frozen. We have a functional freeze response to stress, and we override our feelings to do the thing. So it allows us to go from our body into our head to focus on the task at hand and then do the thing, even though we have this unresolved emotion. At the end of the day, uncertainty represents the unknown, which triggers a stress response because the brain can't put ourselves in that future space and time, and it can't predict what's going to happen. So it labels it as a threat, and all the alarm systems go off in the body that create all these different emotions that typically prevent us from taking action. What role does predictability play in reducing stress and improving focus? And how can creating systems and rituals serve as a map for navigating life? Well, if you think about predictability as having a map or a GPS, you put the coordinates in where you want to go, you figure out where you are, or the GPS does it for you, and then you can see all the steps to get there. So it gives you a predictable condition of what's to come. So you have a better sense, and the brain has a better sense of, or a better idea of what's to come, so it has more ease. It can predict certain things, and even if you get off track, the map or the GPS will redirect you back on course. So it gives this false sense of security that can help us improve our focus because we're not focused on the what will happen or what could happen. We have a clear roadmap right in front of us showing step A, step B, C, so on and so forth. With creating systems, that allows us to create a familiarity, a predictable condition. So an example of this may be every Monday you map out your week of your to-dos, your tasks, your responsibilities, your priorities, and then you prioritize all that in terms of what you're going to do on Tuesday, what you're going to do on Wednesday, so on and so forth. So you give your brain an idea of what's going to come tomorrow, so that way when you wake up the next day and you look at your to-do list, you're not surprised by anything. This helps create the stability and even in high pressure environments, and it gives you in your brain an effective framework to rely on, so that way you know what's coming, and if something changes, how you can shift to get back on course. Why is it essential to embrace ambiguity and how we can balance that with our brain's craving for predictability? So the paradox is that the brain is always trying to create a sense of what's going to come. It's trying to predict that certain circumstance, and the other side of the coin is to grow, we have to push outside of our comfort zone. So on one hand, The brain is trying to create comfort by predicting the condition of what's going to come, creating that certainty that we crave, the ego craves, it soothes us. But on the other hand, we all know to some degree, whether we like it or not, that in order to grow personally and professionally, we have to push past our boundaries. So we have to step into the unknown. The tricky piece of this is, how do we do that? And that's where the systems that I talked about a moment ago comes into place, because if we can create a system of getting the mind and body connected in a similar environment that elicits a similar experience for us that is emotional and mental, then we allow ourselves to have that familiarity of the training, so to speak. So when we get into those high pressure situations and new environments or in any new circumstance, we've done the work to hopefully create that automatic response that is a habit, it is a habitual pattern, that when that moment comes, we're prepared for it because we've experienced something similar to this, whether that be exercising and pushing your mind and body to new growth states, mentally and physically, and then what that translates to in, let's say, the work environment when there's some conflict or you're presenting, those same sensations come up in the body, the same emotions come up, and you can go, oh, I know what this is. I felt it before. This is signals telling me that maybe this is meaningful to me, or maybe I need to prepare more, or maybe I'm just excited about this. So let's tap into the body. Let's see what's going on. Let's maybe breathe a little bit. Let's feel this, and then let's perform. Now in the planning situation, it's something similar. You're mapping out the week, so you're giving yourself a visual of what's to come throughout the week, so there's no surprises. And if some surprises do come, which is every day of our lives, then we're able to take that information, compare it with the plan, maybe add it in or critique the plan, adjust. But we've already kind of put ourselves in there with visualizing the day or the days throughout the week. So when things come up, it's like, oh, no big deal. We'll just fit this in. What are some practical strategies for turning overwhelming goals into actionable steps that create clarity and momentum? It reminds me of the quote, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So a practical strategy for turning overwhelming goals into, we'll say, bite-sized actionable items is to take that big picture and chunk it down into what you can do step by step sequentially. So let's say the goal is to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. Well, if we divide that 10 pounds by 3, that's a messy number, we'll get 3.33 repeating, I think it is. So essentially it's like, if we can lose 3.5 pounds a month, we're on track. Okay, well, how do we do that? We break it down into a weekly set of goals. Well, what do I need to do, the actionable part, each week to then get on track to potentially reaching that goal? Well, a lot of us know it comes down to exercise and nutrition. And we'll add in sleep and stress reduction on top of that. So maybe the goal, the actionable goal, is exercise, specifically lift weights, resistance training 3 times a week. Nutrition is every day hit a certain protein target. And sleep is an everyday one too, where it's, get 7+ hours of good quality sleep. There's a very strategic, actionable plan that you can implement and create less overwhelm and focusing on the big picture. Big picture is fun. Maybe for some people it's scary, but the vision and that big picture is fun. What's overwhelming is trying to comprehend that whole big picture from the state of now. Now, chunking down, the reason it works so beautifully is because we take that big goal, that big picture, and we chunk it down into phases, into actionable steps. So we could take let's say a year-long goal, we break it down into 4 quarters. So 3-month intervals. So we have different milestones. And then we take 1 quarter at a time and we break that down by monthly milestones. And then we break down that month into weekly targets. And then we break down those weekly targets into daily tasks. It creates more of a comprehension of how to obtain the larger thing, the larger vision. So the final question of this week's issue of the Performance Pulse is, how does consistency in showing up the way we want to build trust within ourselves and condition our minds for higher performance? By doing the thing consistently, we train or condition our unconscious mind to believe that we're the type of person that does the type of thing that we say we're going to do that is a part of reaching that goal. So we're thinking about the person that has that goal. We're thinking about their psychology, their physiology. We're reverse engineering it into where we are now, and we're taking action on both the psychology and the physiology piece. So by consistently showing up and putting the effort into it, we can say we're the type of person that pursues this thing or that is on their way to achieving this goal. Because it's not about the outcomes, it's about the pursuit, who you become in the pursuit. So by saying I'm a person that is, let's say I'm a healthy person by virtue of exercising weekly, by quality sleep or prioritizing quality sleep daily, getting my nutrition right in terms of prioritizing protein and then figuring out the other macros and calories. That is what a healthy person does. So by virtue of participating in a thing, you are that person. Now there's different specificity around the goals that one would quantify for themselves as being a healthy person, but it's not about the end product. It's about the pursuit. It's about the action, the verb, the type of person that does the thing that then acquires the goal. And I think a lot of people, if they took more energy and time and spent that focusing on how they could show up and do the thing that by virtue of doing the thing gets them to where they want to be, they would let go of the outcome and they would focus more on who is the type of person they're becoming. Every action you take every day is like a vote towards the type of person you want to become. So if you think about that and you just stack all those bits of evidence that is proving that you're the type of person you say you are, you're gonna get higher or you're gonna get closer and closer to raising the probability of achieving what you want. And what's fun about that is the closer we get to achieving the thing we want, the pursuit of that shifts so many perspectives about ourselves, how we view ourselves, the world we live in, how we view the world, all those things that our priorities start to shift. And then that end goal, let's say, it starts to expand to where it's evolving. So it's like the goalpost is always moving in a positive way because that shows growth, that shows progression inside and out. Now, the last thing I want to say, the last idea I want to leave you with this week's issue of the Performance Pulse is this concept of people having so much weight on the end product, the goal, and thinking that that thing is what's going to solve their problems, when really it's not. It's about the type of person you become and the ways you change that are going to get you out of the circumstances. So it's essentially acting opposite of what you used to do that got you where you are now. You know, the tools that got us here won't get us there. So if you can realize that you're in a situation because of the way you've thought, the way you felt, and the way you've acted on your thoughts and your feelings, that's created the result or the reality you live within. And you can audit all those things. And it's like, all right, well, let's flip it. What can I do to get out of this situation? The exact thing that got me here. I'll do the opposite of that. I'll do the opposite of the thing that got me where I am today. That's not easy. It's simple, but there's a lot of things to work through. And that's why I love what I do as a performance coach, a personal performance coach, because I get to work with people one-on-one and in group settings, and I get to help them co-create a tailored plan based on where they are and where they want to go and what we discover along the way. My role, my biggest responsibility beyond accountability and support is finding blind spots and holding my clients accountable to the blind spots they find and acting opposite of them. It's a journey, not a destination. That reminds me of this week's issue of the whole idea around the predictability edge is if we are so focused on an outcome and we never get that outcome, we're gonna always be living in this state of overwhelming anxiety and fear because we're chasing something that is maybe a facade or an illusion because it's not an end destination. You don't just, lose the weight and then that's it. You have to maintain it. And I think that goes into the subconscious fear a lot of people have about the unknown is because the unknown presents a whole host of different things we'll have to change about the way we live and we're comfortable. And that's the whole point of this is to get out of our comfort zone. But you don't just reach success and then you're successful the rest of your life. You have to maintain that success. There's a lot of adversity that comes along the way, a lot of obstacles and challenges. We have to navigate the environment, the people, places, and things outside of us in our internal environment. So it doesn't just stop once you reach success. It's the progression. And I think that's the reason many people fail in life is because they think they have to get somewhere and then that's it. And maybe they don't get there and then they give up because, I'm not here. And they miss all the beautiful wins about the journey of who they're becoming and the journey they're on that by virtue creates the type of person they are because they continue to push forward. And that's my latest mantra of performance. The game is life and the sport is trying. That's performance to me. As long as you're trying, you're still in the game. And the difference between low performance and high performance is always consistently looking to level up, looking to uncover ways to improve. And if you're doing that, To me, that's success. Mastery is a constant focus on progression and improvement. It's not an end destination, it's not a final product. So if you're consistently trying to better yourself personally, professionally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, you've won. It's not you complete the game of life and then you're set. It's ongoing. So I hope this week's issue of the Performance Pulse has been impactful for you. If you found any value in this, I'd love for you to support the video on whatever platform you're watching. Share the newsletter. It's free to join. These videos are free, so all it does is help get my work into the homes and the minds of people that need this work and that could benefit from it. So I appreciate you all taking the time to show up, listen. I love any feedback you have. If you've implemented anything that you read in the newsletter or anything from this video, let me know. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you guys soon.